Hello everybody, my name is Paul Tace. In this video we're going to look at the rumours of the Mavic Mini 2 coming out and why I think they're true. Let's get started. Okay guys, so I've had some comments before on some of my other videos about where I think the Mavic Mini 2 is coming out, and at the time I didn't think it would. However, if we look at what's happened previously, where they've released a drone, about a year or so later, they'll release the upgrade like the Mavic Pro and the Mavic Pro 2 and the Mavic Air and the Mavic Air 2. Now, for me, that's not going to be enough to assume the Mavic Mini 2 is coming out. After all, there's the weight limit. I'd imagine whatever happens, the Mavic Mini 2 is going to have a 249 gram maximum weight. So there's only so much they could actually put on the drone. But now if we look at the FCC registration, which is the place you need to register any new electronics that are going to have any sort of radio signals going through them, there has been a new registration from DJI. Now, the registration doesn't actually say that it's a Mavic Mini 2, it says it's a Mavic camera drone. So obviously they won't want to be given away too soon that there's a Mavic Mini 2 coming out until they want to release that information. However, if we look at the model number, it's MT2PD. Now, the Mavic Mini's model number started with the MT1, so it only makes sense that the Mavic Mini 2 would have the MT2 as the start of it. Now, this information was leaked in a tweet by OSitterLV, and he said, "So this is the so-called Mavic Mini 2. They share the same design. Oh, it has Bluetooth, 2.5/5.8G Wi-Fi, and 2.4/5.8G without the Wi-Fi sign. It also includes the picture, giving the battery information, and gives an idea of the design of where the battery will go. Now, this looks very similar to the Mavic Mini, but the design just appears to be upside down. And also looking at the information given, it appears that the battery for the Mavic Mini 2 is going to be slightly smaller. So although this isn't concrete evidence, it's strong enough for me to make a video saying I think this is going to be coming out soon, within the next couple of weeks. Okay guys, so that's the facts out of the way. There has been a new drone submitted by DJI to the FCC, and although we can't be 100% sure, it does appear to be the Mavic Mini 2. That's all we know, and it's always fun to speculate, and it'd be really great to hear your ideas of what you'd want from the Mavic Mini 2 and where you think this would lead. Now again, from all the comments I've got from other videos, I personally think people are going to want to see some 4K in there, something to make it a bit more wind resistant, an improved range, and also something that people want probably more than most things is going to be active track. Now, one thing I'd really bet on is that the Mavic Mini 2 is going to be less than 250 grams. This is still a really key point. In Canada, it's going to make it a lot easier to fly a drone out there. And in the UK, come the new year, you're going to need to register your drone. However, you will be able to fly it without a license. All you have to have is the registration and that you have to have read the user manual. Now in the UK, you won't need a commercial license anymore either. So you could literally pick up a 250 gram drone with a camera and use that for a business and make money from it, which is something you couldn't do without investing a lot of money before. So it seems to me there'd be a huge demand for it, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did make the Mavic Mini 2. Now again, this is my opinion. I personally think that it's going to have 4K and it would have a better sensor in. It wouldn't make sense to me to upgrade a drone without having a better sensor put in it. They've done that with the Mavic Air 2, and I would expect this done with the Mavic Mini 2. Now, when I fly my Mavic Mini, something that really worries me is being taken away by the wind. I don't have this kind of fear with the Mavic Air 2 when that's in the air, so something that could really put your mind at peace, so having a longer range and also having the ability to tilt more to escape the wind if that's necessary. Now, the biggest fear for me when I'm flying my Mavic Mini is it will get taken by the wind, and although I didn't realise it before when I got the Mavic Air 2, I realised that the transmission for the Mavic Mini wasn't particularly great. So for me, if they brought out the Mavic Mini 2, having the ability to escape the wind by being able to tilt the drone more would be really beneficial, and also having the new technology they have for the Mavic Air 2 for the transmission, that would be really great as well. Now, if we go through my videos, the most successful ones I've made are the ones about active tracking. So I believe if they put active tracking on the Mavic Mini 2, this would be a huge thing for a lot of people. However, to do that, I really think they're going to want to put sensors on so they know they're not going to be flying a Mini into anything. So I know you can do this with a Mavic Mini with the Dji app, but if DJI did this with their own app and they didn't have sensors and people crash their drones, they would get a lot of complaints. So is it possible for the Mavic Mini 2 to have sensors? Now, I personally believe they won't do, and I don't think they will have active track. Having said that, it does appear the battery is going to be smaller, and a battery does take up a lot of the weight of the drone. So perhaps by making the battery smaller, they could make space for sensors. And if they do manage to get the sensors in without going overweight, then active track should be a given. So if they did bring out a drone with 4K footage, less than 250 grams of active tracking, I imagine there would be huge competition with the Mavic Air 2. Now, one of the reasons I particularly like the Mavic Air 2 is the fact it does have the active track, it has these extra features, it has the sensors, and it has the 4K camera. So if they brought out a Mavic Mini 2, which had pretty much the same stats, would they be shooting themselves in the foot? So although I don't believe the Mavic Mini 2 would have active track, it would certainly be something that would help with drone sale. So if you're looking at getting a Mavic Mini or a Mavic Air 2, it might be worth waiting just a couple of weeks to see if the Mavic Mini 2 does come out and what it can offer. So as I said, this is all just speculation, but I'd be really interested to know what you think. What would you look for in the Mavic Mini 2, and what would be the deal breaker? Comment in the section down below. If you've enjoyed this video, let me know with a thumbs up. It is a huge help to me as a creator, and I hope to see you in the next one.